Hi, it's Talsvids. This is going to be a review and then later on in the video a follow-up of my thoughts and time with using the Harry's razor. Now, usually I use the Gillette Fusion Power razor, which I've used for a number of years, and I do find it a really good razor, but the main issue I have got with the Gillette is the replacement razors are rather expensive, and I'm looking for a way of saving a bit of money. So I became aware of the Harry's razor, and you can save quite a bit on the replacement blades if you shop around online. You don't have to get them from Harry's. I will point that out. You can get them on eBay, and they're even cheaper than what they are to get them from Harry's. What I'm going to do in this first part of the video, I'm just going to go through what you get in this trial set, which I got from Harry's, and it cost me £3.95. So I'll just show the individual parts first of all. So you get some shave gel, which I believe goes into a foam when you start to massage it into your face. It's only a little can, but obviously it's going to be enough to get you a few shaves, I would think. You've got 60 millilitres there. It says there, foams into a rich lather that provides cushion and glide. You can see there what it says. Now, I will point out that I haven't used the Harry's razors yet. I'll be using them in the next few days, because I find usually I just shave twice a week because I'm the type of guy who likes to have a bit of stubble. Usually with a Gillette blade I can get around 5 months out of a blade. So yeah, I am being a bit of a cheapskate looking for a cheaper way of shaving, but that's just me. So this is the shaver that you get, well, the razor that you get in the trial set. It's called the Truman. This is the handle, and you can get one called the Winston, which is I think it's a chrome or aluminium one, and I think that's about £10 more expensive than what the Truman is, but it is quite a nice razor. It's got a little bit of weight with it. Now I will say it's heavier than the Gillette that I'm used to, but it does feel nice and comfortable in the hand. You can get this in a green, like olive green colour, and an orange, and this is like a blue colour, and this is called Nautilus, the colour I should say. So you've got like a textured grip on there, so if your hands are wet, you're going to be able to hold it quite easily. Now a couple of complaints that I have read online with the Harry's blades is, and I'll just see if I can point this out, and I've got a Gillette razor here with me that I'm hopefully going to be able to show. There's 5 blades in the Harry's razors, and there's also 5 in the Gillette Fusion razors, but on the Harry's razors the blades are rather close together, and this can be a little bit problematic with the blades clogging when compared to the Gillette, which have got a much larger gap. So if I just shine this torch through here, I don't think it's going to show it up very good, but you can't really see much of a gap with the Harry's. Oh, you can see a little bit there, but if I just compare it with the Gillette, you'll hopefully be able to see. There you can see there's a much wider gap with the Gillettes. Just move it a little bit closer. So that's the Gillette. You can see the gaps there. And I'll do the same thing with the Harry's, and you can see there's very little gap between them. I'm doing exactly the same thing as I did with the Gillette, and you can see there's very little light getting through. Albeit there's a little bit there. Now, I have read a few complaints because of this. The Harry's can be a bit problematic with your stubble and the shaving gels clogging up the blades, and they can be quite difficult to clear, but obviously I'll be able to give my view on that when I've tested it. Now, I'm going to use this for about a month, so I'm going to be getting, in that time, around about 8 shaves, and that should give us a good enough time to see if I like it or not. Now, another complaint I have read with the Harry's as well is, and I'll try and show this as well, it's going to be quite difficult with the Gillette, the force needed to pivot the head as it's going onto round to your chin or the contours of your face. The Gillette's very light, so you can see there I'm hardly putting any pressure on and the head's pivoting quite easily. Now if I try and do the same with the Harry's, although it maybe not come over in the video, I do notice I'm having to put a lot more pressure on the Harry's shaven head to make it pivot. So whether this will make it less comfortable to shave with, or it's going to make it so I'm having to go over the same part of my face much more to remove the whiskers and the stubble, I don't know, and only time will tell. So to remove the head off these, you just simply press on that collar and push up. So you just push up on that collar, that releases that. Now on Harry's website you can get 8 of the blades for, I think it's £15, but I have seen them on eBay and you can get 8 for around £10. So you know, if you're wanting to go on eBay and get the original Harry's blades, you know, you're going to be able to save even more, but still at £15 for 8 blades, they are much cheaper than the Gillette equivalent. So the other parts of the blades we've got on here, we've got the little rubber comb which is supposed to stretch the whiskers, and the Gillette have got one of them on, albeit in a smaller form. You've got the white strip here, that's like a little lubrication slip, which again the Gillette's got on. And then on the very top we've got a little blade on its own, so you can use this for trimming your sideburns. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. Now you can see that. So what I'm going to do over the next month, I'm going to try this Harry's razor with this shaving gel, also with the Gillette Fusion gel that I normally use, and also with the King of Shaves gel, and see if I find one's better than the other. Almost forgot, one last thing you get with the Harry's is this little sort of like a travel case, so you simply just put your razor in there and then you just close that down on there, and just allows you to travel with the head covered up, and with you having these little slits on here, it lets the blades dry. So whether that's needed I don't know, but it come with the part of the trial kit, so I thought I would mention it. So I'll bring this video to a close now, and I'll update in around a month's time when I've had a chance to try everything that I've mentioned out. Hi, it's Talsvids. This is my follow-up review on the Harry's razor after spending around 4 weeks using it. Now, I've got to say I'm not overly impressed with this Harry's razor, to be honest. Now, the one thing I do like, and this is about the only thing that I do like with the Harry's razor, is the actual handle. It's rather weighty, nice grip, feels nice in the hand, but that's the only good that I can really say about it. Now, the main 3 issues I've got are, one is the blades are just too close together, and it doesn't matter what sort of shaving product you use, whether it's King of Shaves, which to be honest I would avoid like the plague because I find it is absolutely rubbish. It's far too gooey, and no matter what razor you use it on. It is really bad to clay the blades, but anyhow, that's just my little rant on King of Shaves. I've also tried using Gillette Fusion Gel with the Harry's razor, and also the Shaving Foam Gel, whatever you want to call it, that the Harry's razor comes with, and the blades just seem really hard to clear. Where usually with my Gillette Fusion, a few swishes around in the sink and the blades are clear, no matter what shaving products I'm using. But even though they're just 5 blades on the Harry's razor, I don't know how they've done it, but they're closer together than what the Gillette Fusion blades are. And like I've mentioned there, it just makes them far too easy to clog and far too hard to clear. Now, the second issue I've got with the Harry's razor is the very upright design of the shaving head. Now, if I bring in a Gillette Fusion on the left, you can see that it's got a slightly more laid back head design. And although it may not look much, in use, it does make all of the difference. I just find that when you're using the Harry's razor, when you've come from something like the Gillette Fusion, you've got to adjust your shaving position quite a bit, and I just wasn't impressed with it. I just think the head design should have been a bit more laid back like the Gillette's is, and to be honest, I can't understand why Harry's couldn't have done this. Now, the third issue I have with the Harry's razor is the actual pivoting design on the head. It just needs too much force to move it. It's just too rigid. It's trying to do that without cutting my fingers on the top. It just feels very rigid, and although it does pivot as you do on your chin and other curved parts of your face, just the force needed for it to move, it's just far too great. And what I have found with the Harry's razor is when you're doing your chin and you're going underneath your chin, you're having to go over your face several times because the head isn't pivoting fast enough as the contours of your face change. So if you're having to go over the same part of your face because the head isn't pivoting fast enough to shave on that contour of your face, with sensitive skin, you could have a rash or some other irritation. Now, the third issue I've got with the Harry's razor is this little trimming blade that's on the top, and it's, you know, really primarily for trimming your sideburns. I'll just see if I can show it on there. So it's basically that blade that's right along the top there. Now, I just find that the angle you've got to hold the razor at in order to trim your sideburns, it just feels really awkward. Where you would think it would start trimming your actual sideburn, it doesn't start cutting. You've got to hold it in rather an awkward position. You know, your mileage may vary, you might not have an issue with this, but I, really didn't like it at all. And I know I keep harking back to the Gillette Fusion, but most people would be moving from a Gillette to a Harry's in order to save money, because that was my primary idea. Now, the little trimming blade that is on the Gillette, I've had no problems whatsoever with that. I can trim my sideburns very accurately, and also as well, I forgot to mention about the Harry's one. I've actually nicked myself on more than one occasion trying to trim my sideburns, and it's something I've never had happen with the Gillette. So if I just hold these up here, you can see the gap quite easily through the 5 blades of the Gillette. You can't really see any sort of gap between the Harry's one, and I think that's really a fundamental flaw in the blade arrangement. while you can save money by going with Harry's, I just find the shave and the old shaving process is, mediocre, and certainly nowhere near as good and as comfortable and as pleasurable as using the Gillette Fusion. But as I mentioned earlier, my primary reason for moving to Harry's was to save money, because I was fed up with paying the extortionate prices what Gillette charge for their blades. So I was still in the position of, what do I do now? I'm going to have to go back to Gillette because I don't like the Harry's. So what I've now decided to do, I've decided to move to a double-edged safety razor. Now, for anyone who isn't familiar with what a double-edged safety razor is, it's the type of razor that you put your traditional razor blades into the very top. Basically, you'll unscrew the handle, the top part of the razor handle will come apart into two parts, and then you just slide your razor blade in and then reassemble it. These type of razors were very popular, probably right up till even the 1970s, because they've been out for probably well over 100 years, this type of razor. But they've seen a big resurgence in recent times because a lot of people have moved to them to save money on the blades. Like myself, they were fed up with paying the prices that Gillette blades are. Now, basically, once you've got a double-edged safety razor, you can pick a handle up that you put your blades into for around £25, £30. Pay a little bit more, if you want something a little bit fancier, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. So once you've bought that, you're just really buying your blades. Now, the blades are really, really cheap because they're just a razor blade. There's no plastic material or aloe vera strips or anything like that. It's just the bare razor blade, and you can pick these up dirt cheap. For example, if you go onto Amazon, I was looking at some the other day, and you could get 100 razor blades for less than £10. So that gives you an idea of the saving that you can get with a double-edged safety razor. And another benefit you get, amongst other things, with a double-edged safety razor is you get a much closer shave. Yes, you've got a little bit of learning to do, but once you've mastered the technique, and it should only take you around a month or so to get some sort of competence and your technique right, you can get a closer shave than what you can get with the likes of any of these razors here. To sum it up, if you want to save a bit of money and you think, I'll go to Harry's, save a bit of money, if you've been using the Gillette Fusion razor, I think you would be disappointed with the Harry's for the reasons I've mentioned. And if you want to save money, why not do what I've done and move over to a double-edged safety razor? You'll save yourself an absolute fortune over your lifetime. So I think that about covers everything. If you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up, because that really helps me. And also, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll receive emails when I upload any new videos. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.